What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Barbells and Trails podcast, episode 94. We're back yet again. He's pumped.
Let's go.
I'm actually I was excited for this week's episode. I think so. This week we're basically just talking all about music and
because we're cool,
big artists that we both enjoy, but ones that are definitely in the media recently. So.
Yeah. 100%.
Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with MGK a little bit?
Or do you want to start?
I think we could start with MGK a little bit. Let's just say we're going to be talking about the good Posty here later on.
Right. So, you saw the documentary too,
Yeah,
right?
I had him watch the MGK doc. It kind of been a topic that we had brought up just amongst ourselves. I was like, dude, you should really watch it. Like, it was really good. You started to you listened to one podcast. You listened to...
I listened to 3, buddy.
Well, I know, but the one that you were like, oh, dude, I didn't know this about Colson. I didn't know all this about MGK.
Which one was it?
Bunny. Dumb Blonde.
Yeah.
The Bunny, which is Jelly Roll's wife's podcast. And
Actually,
you listened to it before I did.
I listened to that one. I also listened to the one with Bobby Lee.
Yeah.
I listened to the one with Impulsive.
Yeah.
And I listened to... I think there was one more.
Oh, I don't know. Did you listen to another? You might have.
I'm spacing. I don't know. Anyways.
So what? So you kind of said that was like your first, I guess your first instance of like really getting to know MGK a little more.
Right.
What did you learn that you were like shocked by that you didn't know?
I already knew like his dad was like a missionary.
Mm-hmm.
But like I really did not know like everything that he went through. Like I knew his dad had a rough childhood and he went on trial. But on that podcast, I mean, he just got really emotional. That was the first time I ever seen him like actually almost cry.
Yeah.
Because deep down you think he's just like this man with no emotions. Like a lot of people think that.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, they see you see almost a facade.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he's more within even the past 2 years more in touch with himself than he was even during the recording of the documentary when he blew up with Tickets to My Downfall and Mainstream Sellout and everything. And that was he was even more in touch with himself then than he was when he was doing Hotel Diablo and in the mid 2010s and everything. And so it is kind of interesting to see this side of him.
Yeah, I really do like the sober side of him. Like I am liking it because it's just better for him. And he just seems so much happier.
He does. Yeah, so. He seems a lot more at peace than he was.
I'm just glad he's having a good time.
Because that was the thing is with his documentary, and you would have saw it. You actually got to see glimpses of him when he was at some very low points, and you could tell. And then also the things he talked about, and him almost committing suicide at the time, and dealing with lockdown, and everything going on, and him and Megan's relationship, because that was all that was during that documentary, and when they were recording it, and as that all that was getting started.
That's when he started sobering up too.
Yeah.
So when did the documentary come out? 2 years ago?
22, I think. Okay. I think it was 22.
Okay.
Because that's the thing. I think at that point he was sober from specific things. So
at the start?
No, in the documentary. He had quit, I think, hard drugs. He stopped doing, I think, cocaine and popping pills and codeine because he used to do damn near everything, I'm pretty sure.
All those videos were just from...
Or yeah, some of the videos in the doc were from 5-6 years ago.
But it's just amazing.
And then you found out now that listening to Bunny's podcast with him that he's been sober off completely since I think he said last fall or something.
What did he say on Impulsive? That's the most recent one.
I don't know if they talked about it then.
No, they did.
That I don't remember. But that was when he even quit, I think, alcohol. So he's stopped drinking, because up in that point I think he was still drinking and he might have been smoking weed.
I want to say at least 6-7 months.
I think he still smokes cigarettes though.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
he
but
does switch.
Which if that's all he's doing compared to what he was,
right?
Yeah.
Of course he needs.
I mean, he was.
Of course he needs something. He it's really hard to just quit everything
exactly
at once,
especially.
So if he gets starts cigarettes and then slowly gets off that too, then.
Because I mean, even when I went and saw him live, oh dude, he was huffing them down during performances. Like
when was this?
This is mainstream sellout when he was touring. I mean, so like literally some of the performances and the stage setups that you see partially in the documentary was the same tour that I went and saw him on.
Yeah.
Which was wild. And oh dude, I don't know how many cigarettes he smoked that night. And he's doing this all during this performance, which is also in itself so impressive because it's like, dude, you're smoking all this down. Your vocals are still like ridiculous.
Oh
like
my
you're
gosh.
it's insane.
That one little glimpse they had in the documentary, like he was screaming basically his whole soul out.
Yeah.
And he literally had blood coming out of his throat.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I love his voice though.
It is a very unique voice. Like people also give him, I felt like he didn't get like a lot of love for him doing the cover of Sun to Me by Zach Bryan, but I love that version. I don't know what it is. And I think it's his, how he kind of took it and how he slightly changed the melody and with his voice.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I really like it.
I like it too. I like Zach's better, but
personally, I actually don't.
Really?
I mean, I like it. It's good, but I don't know what it is, but I think I almost like MGK's version because I feel like it's almost more raw, because like I've even seen like the video and it's literally him with a small synthesizer doing like a few notes in between playing the guitar and while he's singing, where it's like he basically just did it all by himself right there and like put the song together.
Yeah.
And so that's really cool to see. It is good. So like so now that you actually like got to learn more about him, what was like the thing that caught your eye the most now that you watched the documentary? And I'd mentioned it to you a long time ago.
What caught my eye?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because I know that you were also like, you liked MGK and you loved his music already, but you were like, okay, I got to see through some of these podcasts, and that's one reason why I was like, dude, you honestly really should watch the documentary. You got to see like a different side of him. You got to see him more as a person, not just an artist.
Like songs, you can only like do so much of, like people can see like actually who you are in so much of your music. So like in the documentary, it just really just did talk about like his mental health and what he was going through. Like him and his daughter,
their relationship's amazing.
I love his daughter. Like she's amazing, but like even in a part of the documentary, she started getting emotional because she's like, he just is always going on tours and like never coming home, and it's just really hard for her too.
Oh yeah.
But like, I don't know how they transitioned the documentary too was just so good. It really was.
It was
really
very well made.
Together.
It was.
It was.
They did a good job on it, and then like the bits and pieces of showing him in Cleveland back in the day, and doing performances in just front of a small live crowd, and
I loved when he went
everything
back there. He started showing it where like his house was, where he first did his first kind of concert on that
music video.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I think like now he opened a restaurant with somebody from Cleveland.
Yeah, he did.
On who
a
it
coffee.
Is. Yeah, a coffee shop or something.
I'm positive they went there.
Yeah,
after.
It's.
Can you believe that?
It's
That's
cool.
Hilarious.
It's awesome that he's still a part of like where he came from.
A lot of people don't say he's not the king of Cleveland, but
I don't know if I'd say he's the king, but like he's still. You can't deny that like that city's had such an impact on him, and like it's a part of him. He's a part of it.
Right.
Like
what caught my eye the most was he was in Egypt.
Yeah.
For how many years?
I think 4 or 5.
Yeah. I had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea. That's what caught my eye the most. I was like,
yeah, he moved around a lot when he was
I knew he did that, but I had no idea they were in Egypt for like that long since he was like
He's born in Egypt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's he's a very dynamic person, and then
he's an Egyptian.
One of the things you did also say was you're like now listening to like him talk and actually like hearing from him, you're seeing more of his life story and his music more easily. Like you've listened to the music and you really like it was there, but you didn't totally recognize it, and then you hear him talking, you're like, oh,
like
this lyrics, makes so much sense
the
now.
Lyrics is so deep. They really are.
And
I can see why it touched so many people. Because it just, I mean, he just doesn't let anything out. I mean, anything in. He lets everything out.
And I think that's why, because I am kind of like a person when it comes to music. I enjoy music for what it is, but at the same time, I do pay close attention to lyrics. And so even before like the documentary came out, he wasn't really doing podcasts at that point. Just from knowing what I knew about him slightly, and then listening to his songs even from like 5 years ago, like really listening to the things he's talking about in his songs, you could hear bits and pieces of his story and who he was. So I already, like, as I started listening to him more, I already kind of was getting to like understand him more and built a connection. And then that's why like listening to, or like seeing the documentary and everything, it was like, okay, like, yeah, it's you grow with an artist a little bit, kind of like NF and stuff, like when we started listening to him.
I wish he went on some podcast too.
It would be cool, but he's the type that he just doesn't mess with it. You know, like, you can also respect it, I think.
But then again, he doesn't need to, because the music literally tells his whole story.
It really does. Yeah, like, literally. That's true. Like, even like listening to like some like, speaking of like MGK and like even how he's changed now over the past like 4 years, is like in one of his old songs he talks about taking acid, trying to burn all the memories of his mom, because he just, like, at that time, like, hated her, didn't want to remember those memories.
That's the one thing I never really like fully like understood. I don't know if his mom and him are good now.
They've reconnected within the past like 2 years.
I knew they reconnected, but then he said something like he did not like her again.
No.
So I didn't know.
I'm pretty sure they're cool.
Okay.
I mean, I personally don't know, but I'm pretty sure for what I've heard, like, they have rekindled something, and he found out a lot more, like, after talking to his mom about like the situation, because that's also like the thing, and being from a broken home, it's like I can relate when it comes to basically hearing one side your entire like childhood and growing up, and even if. And that's the thing, he wasn't around his mom. He wasn't able to hear that other side. But even being around mine and stuff, like, you don't hear necessarily both sides of the story all the time. And once you get to that point, you get older, then you finally, like, sit down as an adult, and then you find stuff out. You're like, oh, like, I didn't totally know that. And, like, he even said the same thing of being like he didn't know that his mom was trying to be around him, and his dad just wouldn't let it happen. And he had called the cops on her and stuff. And she'd literally been, like, outside one time, and he had no idea. And like at the time as a kid, he thought his mom didn't want him, so that's what drove that like anger. And then later on realizing it wasn't as simple as that, and his mom just kind of gave up because of his dad and everything.
I mean, he made a song about her.
Yeah. And
I guess a few, but one was like really specific.
I feel like it's kind of similar to even like NF's transformation from like his first song about his mom, almost being like mad and distraught that their relationship was so broken, and what she did, and feeling like she didn't do enough to be there.
Right.
To then, like, in his latest album being like, I love you. And if you were with me right now, I just want to hug you.
That's just another thing. Like, everybody grows as a person. So like actually seeing that transformation just means like they're maturing more. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's crazy to see. It was awesome. And then also recently, I mean, shit, he's come out. So like he did the cover of Sun to Me, and then now he came out with Lonely Roads with Jelly Roll, and I feel like that's blowing up ridiculously. And
I just love that it took him like 2 years to make that song.
Yeah, like didn't know that.
And a lot of people don't think that, like, don't understand, because they think he was just following the country, which I think that's another reason why people don't like Sun to Me, because he's kind of following like the country, like that's like the biggest thing there.
The trend, yeah.
Well, I mean, Sun to Me wasn't really the country side. It was just towards what am I spacing her name?
Megan Fox.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
I don't know why it was just a love song.
Why did I space her name?
I don't know. But between that, like even listening to him, and you like watch the documentary of like how long it took him to work on some of those songs and how he'd been working on that for a while. I mean, even listening to Jelly Roll the other day, I heard him talk that like MGK is still working on a rap album right now. Like he's
really,
yeah. And
That's what I want from him.
in Jelly Roll, I would like to see how his rap's changed at this point.
That's what I actually want. I want that more than a country album.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because he hasn't done a rap album in a few years.
5 years.
Yeah.
5 years.
So.
And then that's also crazy that, like, I don't know if you picked up on this detail or remembered it, but, like, literally a year to the day that Hotel Diablo came out, his dad passed away.
Yep, I know that. We talked about that in the documentary.
Yeah. And then it's like you learn some of that stuff, and then that was also what was so crazy is you listen to that and you watch the documentary and that gets talked about. And then also it was right after that like there was that little deluxe album, Mainstream Sellout, and it was like the pink edition or whatever. And it came out with Last November and some of these other songs. And then after learning that and then listening to those and him like talking about like, I hung up the phone and didn't get to talk to you and like stuff like that. And that's him talking about like his relationship with his aunt and not being able to say goodbye before she passed away and everything. And so you actually know the story behind the music and it like, I don't know, it pulls on you more and it gives a deeper
very
connection.
Emotional.
It is
like not in a, I mean, of course in a sad way, but more in like, I don't know how to explain it. I guess.
Yeah, like music touches the soul in a way that is so hard to explain.
Yeah.
And even he talked about it like on Impulsive. Like there's something about music that can just completely change the way you feel. I think that's why I love music so much, because it's like no matter what, if I just throw on music and I play some songs, like it completely changes my mood and how I feel, and I could be in a dour mood, and within one or two songs, I'm like, I'm good to go.
Right.
Life's great, and I'm just enjoying it. And I don't know. There's just something. There's something really. There's just something deep about that.
And that's why in the part of the documentary when he's making Tickets to My Downfall, what's the drummer's name?
Travis Barker. Yeah.
So like even like I think it was at the end or they're about to put the album down, he's like, dude, you just brought back a genre. You literally brought
at the
back.
time. Yes. Yeah.
Now that's what like literally gave me goosebumps. It's like, it's true. Like
No,
nobody even imagined like this kind of like music was going to come out, because it's all, rap and hip hop back then. I mean, I say back then, but
4 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I loved it too. And I think that's why like a lot of people were like, MGK's falling off. He's changing genres. That's the only reason why he's good now is he couldn't blow up in hip hop, whatever. He was already a big artist. You can't deny that.
Well, a lot of people think he switched because of Eminem.
Yeah.
But like he even said that in the documentary. He's like, no.
He's like, I toured with old rock bands and did Blink 180 covers in like 2012.
What's the very first song they
Blink
made?
182.
On Tickets to My Downfall.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head.
They showed that in the documentary, and they were like, okay, if we can make
an album,
7-8 more songs of this, we can make an album of this. I forget what the first song was.
I can't remember.
It wasn't Tickets to My Downfall, though.
No, probably not.
It wasn't.
That's what I also loved about that documentary was, like, I love those two albums so much. And I think that was the first time ever I've been able to actually see, like, an inside view of an artist's creative style. Yeah. And really get to understand, like, see them in the studio as they're creating an album that I love.
When he had Lil Wayne on.
Yeah.
Like, he was talking about that, and he was like, dude literally just went outside, listened to the song about 7-8 times, was out there for like 2 hours, came back in,
it just
dropped the verse,
and it's perfect.
And I was like, what?
That's Lil Wayne though. Like that's what's awesome. I think that's another reason why I love that album. And like you said, like Travis Barker even said, like, hey, you're bringing back a genre. Yeah, is like I grew up and I didn't always listen to it, but I always loved 2000s rock. So like it was like so nostalgic. Yeah. I love like Green Day, Blink 182, Nirvana, a little bit like Linkin Park, like all of that, like 2000s rock. And then for him to come out with that, and it was almost like a modern pop, punk, like rock feel.
I mean,
I loved it.
I didn't even listen to MGK's rap first. Did you know that? I listened to Tickets to My Downfall actually first. I was like, wait, he actually does rap too. I was like, damn.
See, like I already knew of MGK
Right.
before those albums came out, and like I didn't listen to him a lot, and then it came out, and I was like, I wanna check this out, and I did, and I was like, oh wow, like I love this.
Like, I really like Blink-182, but I really like Nirvana too, because that's what Nathan played all the time.
Yeah.
So like, once I found something like that, I was like, what the heck? Like
Yeah.
it was in like a different stage of Nirvana, if you think about it. It's like more pumped up. If it was insane. I loved it.
What was interesting though too, listening to Jelly Roll talk about like him making hip hop stuff, he's like I've been around, like he calls them Kells now. He's like, I've been around Kells, and seeing him still doing that, he's like, it makes me want to make some rap album or rap songs again.
Imagine.
And the thing is I feel like in general within the past couple of years, Jelly Roll has gotten better as an artist overall. That I feel like if he does end up eventually coming out with more rap songs or even another album, it will also be so much better than his old stuff.
Yeah, I really don't remember a song when he was rapped.
Yeah, he was only rap pretty much for a long time.
I know, but I haven't listened to him like back then. I just listened to his new stuff.
Yeah.
So.
It's really cool.
That'd be crazy.
But I guess now, like speaking of, I guess like the genre shift in music, it seems recently. We got Post Malone just shattering the glass ceiling of country.
Dude, he's so good.
And it's so funny because like this is what I told you. So I watched oh my gosh, what is it called? I'm blanking on the documentary, like the Post Malone documentary. It was from 2019. And it was during his Runaway tour. I think that's what it's called. I think it was called Runaway, actually. Post Malone, Runaway. And it's like listening to this album now and like seeing what he's doing with his music and how much he's changed over the past 5 years. And then going back and watching that and like literally like people that's around him is like, he's one of a kind. Like he makes combinations of genres. He was one of the first people to really do it well, and has just changed and bringing rock into hip hop and bringing like crazy big artists and legends into music and wrapping it into his form, like bringing Ozzy Osbourne to do a song with who was that? Was that 21 Savage? Who else was on there? Oh, why am I blinking? But like literally he took Post Malone, a rap artist, and then you got Ozzy Osbourne coming in on a feature. Like, to make a song like that,
that's crazy.
It is. And especially like when I told that to my dad was like, what? I was like, yeah, Ozzy Osbourne, someone you've listened to for 3 decades, is on a song with Post Malone.
Is that how your dad got into Post?
No, but I think like I told him about that, and it was really cool that like listening to that or watching that doc, and this was like as he was starting to blow up more and more, because they even said like this was like when he sold out Madison Square Garden for the first time and did stuff was around like 2019 2018, like in that period.
Right.
This was when like Sunflowers came out, and like Hollywood's Bleeding, that was a great album that blew him up ridiculously. And all this stuff, and like even like one of the promoters for I think the people that worked at Madison Square Garden, she's like, yeah, I remember like only a couple years ago you were doing theaters in town, and now you're here and you've sold every single ticket 2 sold out nights. Yeah. And he's like, it's crazy. He's like, I don't believe it. Like it's insane. And then just how he makes his music and how he just has fun with it. And he like, they were kind of talking about like, they'll just hang out in a studio and just do whatever. Like they showed some clips of like Sway Lee making, I think it was when they were making Sunflower, and they didn't even know what they were making. Sway Lee just went in there and they were like, holy shit. Like
Sunflower is such a good song.
Like literally Post Malone's just sitting out there and he's like, Get this guy out of the booth. he's too good. He's like, you already crushed it. He's like, you didn't even like prep anything. You just went in and just delivered. And
I kind of want to see that turned in like that part.
Yeah, it was
so making cool. Sunflower. That part was iconic. It was kind of cool. And then it becoming what it was and it blowing up because of it partially being in the Spider-Man movie and everything. And he's like, there's so many people now that know that song that have no idea who I like. This was Post talking about this. So he's like, they have no idea who I am. They have no idea who Sway Lee is,
but they know that song and they love that song. And he's like, it's kind of crazy. He's like, even to him, he's like, this is wild. And then they even showed like he just did a 20,000 seat stadium, and then like literally right after he does his performance, he goes backstage and starts playing beer pong with his buddies, and they're just back there hanging out. And he's like, yeah, just like enjoy like hanging out with friends, shooting shit,
exactly.
playing beer pong, just just hanging out. Like
It's just.
and he's so down to earth considering like everything. And
He'll be a cool guy to meet, honestly.
Considering like his status, I think he's probably one of the most like genuine down to earth people you can meet. Like even like seeing him when he first met Dolly Parton, like I saw that on his Instagram and stuff, and he's like, you're such a sweetheart, like thank you so much, like, and all this stuff. And she's like, I've heard you, and she even said to him like, I've heard you say great things about me, like thank you so much.
Even like Jelly Roll too.
Yeah, like it's
both of them, because they both have such a. Did they go into Posty's like childhood?
No, that was the thing. Like I wish they did.
I actually
like,
don't know much about his childhood, like at all.
I don't know a lot. I really don't. Like I know his dad worked for I think a baseball club, and then at one point worked at the AT&T Arena or whatever for the Cowboys. I think is where it was. Cool. And it's like at one point, like now there's like a Posty festival or something that they hold every year in Texas.
Imagine you get so famous, you're actually working like at your dad's old.
No, that's literally what they did.
That's
like they literally, like he's like the first year it wasn't super big. The next year, and this was like 2019, they're doing it outside this stadium, and he's like his dad worked here for so many years, and then now he's here and doing all this, crazy. and in like his almost hometown, like kind of where he grew up, and it's like it's crazy for him to do stuff like that, but it's so interesting that even with that, they were talking and they're like, Post Malone will be known as the guy to break genre barriers. And then you go literally now where he dropped a country album, which 5 years ago, if you look at Post Malone, never would have crossed your mind
exactly
at all. Like never. I don't think I would have guessed it. No. Like the only thing where I would have been like, oh, I guess that kind of makes sense is like some of his first music was kind of country-esque. But that was like before he was ever like big, and then that wasn't what he was known for.
Right.
And yeah. So okay. So I guess let's kind of get into the new album. What do you think? What was your first thoughts?
It was pretty good. Oh my! I mean, not even pretty good. It was amazing. Every feature he had was just like different, but also. I mean, of course, it's country, but like it was, every song was just like unique in a way.
Yeah, I don't think any one was like any other.
F1,
I mean, so there's like the extended album, then there's the main album. The main album has 3 songs with itself. Every other one has a feature, and it's like he literally pulled some of the biggest names
in country
to do this. Like he has Brad Paisley, he has Billy Strings, Dolly Parton, 2 songs with Luke Combs, Morgan Wallen, Blake Shelton.
Yeah.
Who am I missing? There's another big one.
Was it a girl?
Oh, Lainey Wilson.
Okay.
Yeah, Lainey Wilson is in there. What's the one with Wrong Ones? Literally the first song on the album.
Oh.
Why am I blanking on who that is? My brain just shut off on that one. But you know which song I'm talking about.
I literally know the guy's voice too.
Yeah, I know. I'm just completely shut off.
It wasn't Morgan Wallen.
No.
Was it?
It wasn't George Strait, was it? No, it wasn't George Strait.
I forget.
But
I wish he had one with Zach.
Yeah, I think that was the one person that is like out of like today's country music. I'm surprised he didn't get him on.
I mean, he had Morgan. And Morgan's like
Jelly Roll. Forgot to say Jelly Roll was on there.
Jelly Roll, yeah. Yep.
So it's just like such a stacked album with literally some of the most iconic country artists over the past like 2 decades.
Yep.
Some even longer. And it's just crazy that he got all these people on this album, and has done the things he did.
Yeah.
What would you say is like probably your favorite song right now? Like I feel like for me, one of my favorites off of that album might be Hide My Gun. And
My Gun's really good.
Oh, Hardy. Yeah, we forgot to mention Hardy's on there.
There we go.
That one was great. Hide My Gun or possibly Wrong Ones, like for me, are probably
those two are good. I forget the title. It's the
Finer Things.
no.
That one's really
it has
good.
the love one. The love one. It's the single one by himself.
Yours?
Is it
The one about his daughter?
It's about like she's going to the wedding and everything.
Yeah.
No, there's a different one. I'm pretty sure it has like love in it.
Yeah, I think I know which song you're talking about, but I'm blanking on the name.
That one's really good too. I love that one.
I
mean, every single song is just so good.
It really
so
is.
Good.
It's so dynamic. There was one song, and I think it's in the extended version, so it's one of them where it's him solo, and somebody mentioned, he's like, I can't listen to this, and I was like, why? He's like, it sounds like a Christmas song. And then I'm sitting there, I'm listening to it, and I was like, I actually kind of see what you're talking about. I don't know which song it was, but there's literally one song that's like, if you listen to the music, it almost sounds like something like almost like a Christmas tune in some form or another. And I was like, damn it, yeah, I see it.
You ruined this one.
You did kind of ruin it. But like even people that aren't a big fan of Post Malone, I've talked to, is like, I like it. Like it's good. I wasn't expecting it, and it's just breaking genre.
He
barriers.
really is. What's the next genre? Hip hop.
I don't know. Like, I mean, he's already touched so many. Like, all of his music is almost like a combination. I mean, because he's literally touched on this point. Like, he's done hip hop, he's done pop, he's done like rock style. He's done now country. Like, I mean, he hasn't necessarily done like a punk genre, but like that kind of gets roped into rock depending on what you're talking about.
I don't see him doing punk.
Yeah.
I can see him. Like, imagine he tries rapping.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
Posty
rapping.
And like he was already known for like kind of making changes by doing a weird combination of like almost a hip hop rock pop mix.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And then like now he's bringing that into kind of country, which this one I feel like was more country. I don't feel like he really mixed a lot of genre styles. But like where Jelly Roll, his is almost like a rock country, which is really good. Like it's interesting to see within like the past 5 years how much music in general has changed. The music industry has been off the charts, and
crazy.
It's just been changing so much. But I love it. Like I do love listening to specific genres, but I love when you get those like weird matchups. It's like when you go to like a Chinese restaurant, and you're like, man, I really want the lo mein. That's really good, but so's the sweet and sour chicken. Why don't I get the combination plate and get them both at the same time?
Just go for the buffet.
or you go for the buffet and you get a little bit of everything, you know? Like,
exactly.
Like that's what music's turning into, where it's like if you went back 20 years ago, it's like if you're on one album or a specific artist, like you're only going to hear a specific style pretty much from them.
Right.
And now it's changed so much.
It really has.
I mean, I don't. Where do you see Post Malone going at this point? I'm curious. What's your thoughts on it?
I think I can see him taking a break for a minute. True. He doesn't need to do anything special. Like at this point, he's literally covered 90% of music. So, I think he's going to take a break.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
I mean, he's also touring now, so like he's not.
I mean, after touring and everything, I think he's gonna take a break, or he just says fuck it and do another thing. I don't know. Did you see the post he made on Instagram a while back about the truck? It was all dented in because it was the truck that they dropped. That was crazy
for the album cover.
Yeah,
that's cool. Like F1 trillion. Like what a name. Like
I know. I did not think about that, but
yeah, it is kind of funny. Like he's literally, the thing is we we all saw it coming, like almost a year and a half ago to 2 years ago.
He was posting about it.
Oh yeah, he was posting about it for so long.
Everybody was getting pissed at him.
And even before he released any music, he was
posting literally features before he even posted the song, and everybody was like, "What?
Like, what is happening? Like, what is it gonna be? Like, how is this gonna turn out?"
Well, everybody knew it was an album.
Yeah. Like, there was rumors, I think almost 2 years ago, that like Posty was hanging out in Nashville more, and hanging out with art writers and artists there and everything. So it's crazy to see. It's crazy to see. Like, he's also changed a lot, and he's a lot better. Like, even just like watching him from that documentary to like seeing how he is now, he's changed so much.
Oh, I bet.
But in a good way, like kind of like MGK. Like, he even said, like in an interview, like he was like 4 or 5 years ago, he's like, dude, I was a downward spiral. I was falling apart. He's like, I was waking up. Yeah. He's like, I was waking up drinking just to get through the day. I would do whatever I had to, and I go to sleep drinking and crying and start it again. And they were like, what got you out of it? And he's like,
music,
myself. Like, I just had to, between that and then him finding the woman he's with now, which is like not public, and he's been with her for however long. I would say like 3 years.
I didn't even know he was in a relationship, to be honest.
Did you know he has a daughter?
I knew that.
Like, that was part of the interview, was they were talking about that, and he's like, yeah, it was rough, and it was like because of her, and now my little girl, is like, it's changed my life, and they've caused me to become better and take care of myself.
Amazing guy.
And just really enjoy life. Like, I mean, and you even see it from like his like last album, like one of his songs, Morning, like literally him talking about like drinking and dealing with stuff and just trying to get through it. And then like now you listen to, I'm blanking on the name, but this one, I do really like this song, but he's like, in it, how does the line go? But it's something along the lines of like, I used to make songs about sinning, like evil women, drugs, and drinking, and you've raised the bar. And like him talking about his wife. Well, I don't know if they're married, but basically the girl he's with, and like, you've raised the bar, you've made me change as a person. That's and cool. Turn me into something that I more like probably authentically himself.
So did they get into that with the documentary, him and the girl?
No, cause I don't think they were together at that point.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Because I mean, I knew like even just like how he was in his old music and everything, and like I knew he was like a heavy drinker and a bunch of other stuff, and even seeing him like in person, but you just feel like the soul. Like, I mean, like you could even say like Post Malone vocally might not be the greatest singer of all time,
right?
But it's the way he sings. It's the soul you feel, the energy he puts into his music, especially when you see him live and he plays Fall Apart. Oh my god, dude.
Oh, I bet that's great.
It's such a, like, seeing that live, which I have, and it's just so good because everybody in the stadium just goes crazy for that song. Yep. And you just see him like feeling it. And then I feel like this was also like also within the past like 3 years, and this might have something to do slightly with him changing as a person and having this obviously good woman in his life, making good changes. Like, he started losing a lot of weight. He was enjoying life. And that was, do you remember the rumor where people were like, what is Posty on? Is he like tripping? Like, what the hell's going on? And he's like performing and just dancing and like doing a bunch of crazy shit. And people was like, the dude's getting skinny and it looks like he's tweaking on stage, like all this stuff. What is going on? And like at one point his dad literally said like, no, like he's the healthiest he's ever been physically and mentally.
That's good.
And he's just enjoying life and he's just loving it.
Did they get into Posty's mom?
No, I haven't really ever heard much about his mom.
Never either.
Yeah. But it's like, I did see his dad. His dad was in part of the doc, and I was like, that's kind of cool. I was like, damn.
What does he look like?
He looks like him. Like,
really?
There's you see it for sure. And but it is just really cool because like you see him performing now, and he's just singing and dancing, and he's in the moment so much that you can tell that he's you can tell he's better. Like even from 4 or 5 years ago, like you can see it on him. You can just see how he is physically, and seeing those changes too. It's like he's made a big change.
Oh, I bet.
it's also crazy though. So I don't know if you heard this, and I was like, this is kind of perfect that we didn't record earlier, because I think it came out like a few days after we were initially going to record this and talk about it. Was he's the first artist to ever have a #1 country, hip hop, alternative rock, maybe not hip hop, maybe pop album. It was like hip hop pop. It was like 4 charts, #1 album.
I'll bet. Yeah.
And
that
insane.
alone just tells you how good of a song maker he is.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't like his voice, but just the way he makes songs, it's just amazing.
Like he's the first person to ever do that, and I think I looked last week, at the end of last week sometime, and it's probably over that now. Like it's, when I looked, both versions of the album were sitting at like almost 860 million streams.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
and
insane.
that was like less than 2 weeks from the album dropping.
Insane.
Like now it's probably easily over 1 billion.
Oh,
which is
no doubt
ridiculous.
No doubt.
It's just, it's crazy to think about. It's just really cool to see, and I'm jealous that you guys are going to see him here in like 2 weeks. Like,
come on,
next week you're going to see him.
Come on, get a ticket.
I don't think I can. I wish though. It's, man, I miss concerts though. I do.
You can come.
I've only been to one this year.
You can come.
Posty is.
This one's gonna be amazing.
He's gonna go down as probably one of the best artists of our generation.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
He yeah. I mean, he's one that I feel like it's, for a long time I feel like it was like almost on the down low of like not super noticeable in the mainstream, but he was changing the industry just slowly but surely in his own way, and kind of doing it on his own to some extent, where like now more people have kind of caught on.
I don't think he's really changed the industry. I think he's just literally one of a kind.
Well, I think like I think with that, I don't think it was something like he deliberately did, but like I think he's one of those artists that like now features are so big in music.
Oh yeah.
Where like even 6-7 years ago, you wouldn't have many features, and he was one of those artists that was pretty adamant even early of like bringing on features you wouldn't expect. And so I feel like he was part of that trend even before it became a thing that kind of changed music a little bit. Like I mean, honestly, I don't know an album where almost every song has a feature, let alone the features he was able to pull. And so it's really cool to see that. And he's a very like you said, he's a very unique, one of a kind person.
One of a kind person. Like literally, I don't think anybody else can go the way he did. Like in music, I mean, unless like years ahead of us, like some local guy can do it. But
oh yeah, no, definitely. I think that's why I love the music industry nowadays. Is almost anybody can make it. Like even if they're not like massive, they might not turn into like if we go back to old school shit, like they might not become like Led Zeppelin or any of those big bands from like the 80s. It's not going to be the same, but you could have somebody that's making music on the side that at least can build a career off of what they're doing so much easier because of how the industry is now, and with the internet and social media.
Well, the thing is, like back then you needed like usually bands.
Yeah.
Like 4 or 5 guys had to
all
work together. But now like one person can pick up a guitar or play the piano and just sing their heart out. By the way, have you seen that 9-year-old on America's Got Talent? He played the piano.
Wait a second.
You had to.
Does he kind of have like frizzy hair?
Yep.
I think I know exactly
like
what you're talking about.
Mixed. Yeah.
Yeah.
That song was amazing.
Yeah.
And I can see that song with like Sunflower too, and another Miles. What is it? Miles
Morales. Yeah, there's
like,
just so much more
so
opportunity. I feel like now.
But yeah, that's what I mean. It's like even a 9-year-old can make it big. Like anybody can. I'm not saying that the 9-year-old's an average person. That kid is amazing.
Really good. Yeah. I mean, even like who was it that you showed me the other day? I'm blanking the song that Hope started singing.
Oh.
What's that guy's name?
I actually don't know.
You don't know?
She knows.
Uh-oh.
I don't even know what's the name of the song. Oh no. Take Me Home. Right?
I think so.
Take Me Home by some guy. I don't know.
But like just listening to him and like listening to the music with you guys, I was like, okay, well, like this is obviously
that guy
really,
is
really good.
I think that's like one of his biggest, like
Bigger
it is
songs,
his biggest
yes.
songs, but like one of his most recent songs, and it's about his wedding day.
Yeah.
That's what it makes it. Or there's like
Well, I mean, just like I read his like bio on Spotify. It's like going from somebody that lived in his car that was making music and started to focus on like using social media and YouTube and people like finding out his day to day and like learning who he was and how he was and now becoming a growing music sensation, whatever. And it's like he's big, but he's still like small compared to like obviously certain people, but it's like he still has millions of streams monthly on average.
His wife literally found him in this car and took him in.
Yeah,
that's what makes it like really special.
Oh yeah, and then and that's how I found out about him was just listening, like just randomly scrolling and seeing his vows from his wedding. And I literally sat there and I'm like, I wasn't crying, but I just sit there and I'm like, it was so I literally looked at you guys and I was like, I don't think anyone could ever have better vows.
That guy was good.
Like it was the story was so
good. It was so sweet,
and I was like. It's so heartfelt and touching.
There's just a lot of like looked musicians. Like there's another guy named Miles, made the song Stargazing. Or Home.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking. I forget his last name now. For some reason, it's Miles something. I really forget.
Are you talking about Khaled?
No.
I'm thinking of Starboy.
Like My Home.
Oh man, who is that?
Stargazing. There's another song too, but like that guy just came up too, and he's lower, but he's still pretty popular.
Ooh, speaking of music and possibly upcoming stuff, John Bellion might be releasing an album this year. He's the one that did Guillotine. All Time Low. That was like one of his big songs.
That was him?
Low. Yeah.
That was him.
John Bellion. Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay.
And the whole reason I know about it was he's on George Janko's podcast like a month and a half ago. And he's like, yeah, I basically like stepped out of music because of everything going on in the music industry and understanding my contract. And he's like, I paid myself out of it. I was done. I hated having to like handle things I was and doing the things I did, and then you also find out like this man has literally written some of the biggest songs that you could ever think of. Like he wrote Ghost, Justin Bieber.
Oh yeah, I knew that actually.
Yeah.
Yes,
he wrote that. Like he wrote, he literally like listed off a handful of them. I think he literally helped write Umbrella, Eminem and Rihanna.
That's actually crazy.
And all this stuff, and it's like, what the hell? And then him
he
possibly coming out
away for a little bit. Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember when his last album came out. Like probably 18.
Yeah, I need to go back and listen to it, to be honest.
Yeah, and so he has a new album coming out soon. It's like that will be
gonna be
good
because
that's somebody that's one has amazing vocals, but is such an amazing writer and producer that the things that he's involved in, he's like so underground almost of like. His expectations of like how many people might actually know him is so little, but it's like the impact he's had on like music over the past like 5 to 10 years is kind of ridiculous. Kind of like Charlie Puth before he started doing his own thing.
I know exactly who you're talking about now. I was trying to remember that guy's face, but
yeah, I
saw a reel the other day of him. He was like me just walking through the street. Nobody knows my face, but they know my songs.
No, for sure.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, now I remember.
I mean, like even Charlie Puth before he started doing his own stuff, like he was writing a lot.
Dude, Charlie Puth is
producing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
He is literally one of the most talented just
musicians.
Off the beat type of guy. Like literally. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's sitting there in COVID just making songs talking about light switches and like, how can I use this and make a song about it and do this, and then he just does it, and you're like,
Well, like
I love music, but I don't think my brain
when he was on
works
the
the same.
Tonight Show.
Yeah,
and just with the cup, it was just crazy.
Yeah, like that's another thing. Like we talked is like music's changed. Like you used to have a band. You used to have to play the instruments. You used to have to do all these things, get the perfect rendition recorded in the studio. Now, you don't necessarily need anyone else in there, just you and a computer, and you can literally make great hits, and it's crazy.
Going back to bands though,
yes,
I've been seeing like remixes, of course, of like One Direction.
Okay,
they keep saying like, yeah, I want to have a reunion with all the guys. So One Direction reunion, maybe. They coming back?
Imagine. Damn.
That'd be crazy.
I mean, I'm pretty sure NSYNC came back at one point for something.
I hope they do.
I thought they did. Like Blink-182 started touring again.
Yeah, I really hope One Direction gets back together. Just because they've all grown way better. Nobody can question it. Like going back and listening to
Styles
or not Horn.
Yeah,
he's really good too.
It's crazy. Yeah, like you don't see that now. Now that I think about it, like even like boy bands that just like died away. Like even like the Jonas Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
But yet they're so good. They really are. Like
I mean,
Nick Jonas is such.
What is like the last boy band? Oh, I guess BTS or
that'd be like
is 21 Pilots considered?
No, I don't think so.
There's one more. Why am I spacing? AJR.
Why am I? AJR.
I mean the three brothers.
Come
on, buddy. Come on, buddy.
The only three brothers I know are the Jonas Brothers.
No, it's AJR. Can
you name a song? Yeah, you can't do that and then be like, you don't know him.
Yeah. 1 minute. Shut up.
Like he thinks. By the way, shout out to Sandra. Well, we had somebody comment on our last episode and hit us up and wants us to do a challenge video. So she basically challenged us to do this at one point during a podcast or live stream or whatnot. So this is something that's possibly going to happen here in the future. Sandra, thanks for the shout out. Honestly, if anybody that's listening has topic ideas or something you want us to do on a podcast, like feel free to leave it in the comments, reach out on Instagram, whatever. Like, we'd love to hear from you guys. We love getting feedback. And if there's something like any requests or topic ideas you guys have for us, we'd love to hear it and possibly do it sometime.
I can't remember her name. Stop. I'm playing you some songs after this.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
You've heard of them.
Okay. All right.
But they're a boy band, right?
I don't know.
Three brothers? They have to be.
Do they all sing?
No.
See, I feel like that, like, a boy band is where you need at least, like, 2 to 3 vocalists all together.
It's like
they might play some instruments, but they all need to be able to sing.
21 Pilots, they both sing.
Yeah, but then it's like, okay, could you consider Suicide Boys a boy band?
I actually haven't heard a song from them recently.
They're coming into town.
They really?
Yeah, they're going to Indy.
That's kind of cool.
I listened to them on Theo Vaughn's podcast. That was kind of cool.
Oh,
because they're all from Louisiana.
This is totally like totally off from like the music episode. Okay. But he had Donald Trump on his.
Yeah.
Did you listen to that? Yeah. That was crazy.
Theo Vaughn with Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders the week before.
That was crazy.
Damn. Theo Vaughn is getting out there. Like somebody made a list of like the top 10 most influential influencers or something. And they said Theo Vaughn was like 10 or 9 or something. I was like, all right, I can get behind that. But the thing is they didn't put Rogan. And I'm like, okay, I wouldn't consider Rogan necessarily an influencer, but when it comes to influential people over the past
he's literally
decade, yeah.
Is he
he'd be the
most popular
podcast.
Yeah, he is. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think there was another one, but it could be like somewhere from China or something. I don't know.
Theo, I think, is like top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Like Theo's up there.
Well, it's kind of crazy when Donald Trump's son literally is like, "Oh, this guy's big."
Yeah.
Like to Donald Trump. Like, can you
that was
believe
so
somebody
funny.
say that
Yeah.
to him?
I mean, like, wait a second. Who? The guy with the mullet, the funny dude.
Yeah. That guy's hilarious too.
It was. I know this is also off topic, but Andrew Huberman just came on a podcast the other day with Rogan and did smelling salts for the first time, and it was so funny. I was like, man, I think we got to get smelling salts for him. Because I'm like, I low key want to try it. I really do. Like, one time I just want to try it in general at the gym, but like, I just want to try it. Like,
Yeah.
and even Andrew was like, oh, like, I think that's the thing that I love about Theo when he did that the first time he went to Rogan's. I don't know if you've ever seen that clip, but he did smelling salts.
Oh, I need
it
to
was
see it.
so great. And then it was like literally 5 minutes later, he's like, "You want to do it again?"
To Joe?
Yeah.
What did Joe say?
Like, I think he did it like 4 times on the podcast. Like, Theo's just like, yeah. Like, I mean, it gets your adrenaline going, so it does almost get like, I would say like an addictive thing, but it's like it gives you like a jolt.
Imagine you're
Literally.
addicted to smelling shots.
I think that'd be pretty bad for you in the long
That'd be
run.
terrible.
Yeah, because
Like
I think literally
every 2 minutes, just.
Oh, dude, like it's because it literally like makes your nervous system just go into a fight or flight.
Oh,
and
yeah. Well, the thing is, if you did that regularly, then they're just like, want to like slowly just like
when you,
not
like,
hit
wear
as
off.
much.
Yeah, and that
Because your body's just used to it.
a little bit. It'd be like anything. It'd be like caffeine. It'd be like nicotine. If you use it too much, the effects get weaker. Where it's like if you take a break and then do it, it's gonna be wild again. It's like you've never done it.
I can't take a break from caffeine. Sorry.
If you did, dude, there's one guy that came on. I think I listened talk one time, and he was like, "I quit caffeine completely for like 90+ days, didn't do anything." And then he's like, "One day I went and just had a cup of coffee." He's like, it was almost like trippy, like it was weird, like
I bet
and it's like it was kind of great. He's like, I almost got like
That's what caffeine's supposed to do.
like a high off of it.
But everybody's just used to 200 plus milligrams of caffeine and a cup or whatever.
Yeah. No. Music is it's crazy.
Sorry.
I know you're good. I don't know. It's just crazy how much has changed. I'm looking forward to it. I love
music is taking over the world.
Even
Title
more so.
of the podcast. There we go.
I mean, even more so. Like recently, like it's just growing and growing. Like I feel like there's more people in the industry also, which is really cool. Like where, like back in the day, like it was just also so hard to get in there and everything. Where like we talked, it's so easy for somebody to blow up and start a career so easily. Like it's even the same for like comedy as well. Like you
Comedy's
get to see
blowing up right now.
Oh, and I love it. And part of it, a big portion of it's because of Rogan and Tony Hinchcliffe. Like between those two people, creating an atmosphere in Austin, Texas, where people can just go and just basically practice non-stop comedy. Like you're getting great people to come on, and that's why I love Kill Tony so much.
You know what? When Andrew hops on, comedy episode.
Oh, he'll love
because he did comedy, right?
Yeah, dude, he would love to talk about that.
That'd be cool.
Oh yeah,
Give him.
We'll get
give
into
us
it.
some jokes.
Give us some jokes.
Give us some jokes.
If we just turn this into a really shitty version of Kill Tony and be like,
Well,
all right, you gotta do a
no.
minute. I should tell him. That would be so good.
You
Be like,
should though.
All right, I want you to perform like your tightest minute that you were able to come up with, and then we'll like talk afterwards. I just wanna listen to it. That'd be kind of funny because I've actually never seen him perform, so that'd be cool.
That'd be funny.
No, I love comedy. Like music and comedy for me are probably like one of my 2 favorite pastimes.
Podcasts are mine.
Podcasts
and
is up there, like with that. But a part of that is comedy in that sphere.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, especially like watching Kill Tony and stuff like that. Like, I think I love creative people, and then to also see somebody in the creative process, like especially on Kill Tony, like you get to see somebody that possibly has never done comedy ever come on. and then you get to see some of the greatest comedians over the past like 2 decades, some that's possibly been doing it for 40 years, come on and critique them, sometimes make fun of them and give them shit because they're just terrible, but but at the same time, like sometimes you get like see really cool advice and like break it down and be like you see people get better, and that's what's really cool. And I think that's why I really enjoyed like Jelly Rolls and MGK's documentaries, kind of getting an inside feel. I think that's why I've also like really loved listening to like NF for as long as I have, because you get to see him develop and change and grow. Like I feel like that's why I get attached to certain people, is I see them grow over the time as the same thing. And I hope that at one point, like if we keep doing this for an extended amount of time, people get to see kind of a similar thing with us. And it's cool to be able to kind of get that feel and get that connection with people.
You know, now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever heard a bad song from NF. Even his early like albums. Insane. He's such a good artist.
Yeah, that's, I mean, like even with Post Malone on this album, like there's songs I like less, but there's not a bad song. Okay. There's not. Like I mean I don't think so. And I think that's obviously like somebody's also not going to release their shitty music.
You're right. But like, even if when like how big he is, like.
But at the same time, you also get to see that like the craft and how much time and effort probably went into it to create it, and that's why it's like it's cool to kind of be a fly on the wall and see somebody talk about like their creative method and how they do their things.
I just love just watching like videos of people making a song. I think that's just insane.
I think that's why I've also loved like some of the musical artists that's come on certain podcasts and listen to them talk and get to hear their backstory, but also like how they got started and how they developed and how they went about it and became who they are and things along those lines. Like it's really cool to see. Like I feel like who else has released an album recently that because did Eminem release an album, or did he just release that song? Was it a full album?
It was an album.
I haven't listened to it.
It was an album.
I haven't listened to it.
I swear somebody did, but I'm forgetting. I mean, of course, a lot of people have, but
and then like somebody else I introduced you to, smaller artist but still really good, Mike. The other day, you're like, "Who's this guy?" I was like, "You've never listened to Mike?" I was like,
"Oh yeah,
I love that shit." Like
Mike's pretty good.
He's good. Like
I haven't listened to his like all of his songs yet.
No, yeah, neither, I don't think I've listened to all.
No,
of
I mean
his
like
songs.
Just that one song you showed me.
Yeah,
and I was like, I need to listen to those songs. And I still have it.
Yeah, I feel like that's what's cool about the internet, is every once in a while you can just find those like hidden gems.
I love just watching like finding just like small artists. It's actually
cool. Like Connor Price,
Connor Price or Lunar. You probably don't know.
I don't think I know him.
Or Nick D. Nick D's good.
Joey Nato. I don't know if you've ever heard him. Like he's a producer. Like he would do like reaction videos, but he's like a smaller artist. Like he did some stuff with who did he do something with? Was it Crypt? No. Who was it that JJ had KSI had a beef with at one point? It was an artist. This is
Jake
like
Paul.
5 years ago.
I'm just kidding.
But it was like it was that guy. Then blanking on his name. It was Quedeca, and like
KSI had beef with somebody 5 years ago. Buddy,
I
wasn't even like watching KSI 5 years ago.
I think. Well, I can't remember, but it was like those two, Quedeca, and then like oh my gosh, why am I blanking out? I almost said DMX. It was not DMX.
I don't know, dude.
Dax. You remember Dax, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it was
JJ had beef with Dax?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I like Dax.
But yeah, it's like one of those guys where he's like a smaller artist, but he's really good. Yeah. Like Joey Nato, like at one point made a song, like literally one of his albums is I'm creating a whole album in 24 hours because he's a producer, and basically he wrote and produced an entire album within 24 hours.
That's crazy.
And like I wouldn't say it's like the greatest album of all time, but it's pretty damn good. Like it is, and it's still like impressive to know. And so like that's like almost like the trendier side and social media side of music of being like, oh, let me try doing this in a day and making music, and then you get to see that like creative ability and what somebody can do. It's awesome.
Random fact of the day.
Oh,
do you know Dax was almost a professional basketball player?
Did you know he used to be a janitor?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know the basketball thing, but no, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
No, like literally, he was I think he was a D2, but he was he was actually pretty good. I mean, I don't know what his stats were, but like he was like, my goal was NBA, so I worked literally his butt off to make it to the NBA. But then he was like, it is literally a higher chance of me doing music than there is me getting in the NBA.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Like it's the likelihood of getting into the NBA is ridiculous. Like at one point, I think I'd listened to two
crazy
professionals talk. I can't remember who they were, but they had pretty long careers when it comes to NBA. Like I think it was like 10 to 12 years for both of them. I'm blanking on who it was. You might know exactly who they are.
Probably do.
But they were like in the whole
what teams.
Oh shit, I don't know.
What podcast were they on?
Iced Coffee Hour. You haven't listened to that one much, but
I've listened to like 2 podcasts from him.
But no, so they came on, and it's like for that in particular, they were like probably for the whole history of the NBA, you probably have like 2,000 professional players. And it's like you realize how small of a group of people that is to play for 40 years or however long the NBA has been around.
Dude,
let's say 40 years.
Just getting in the G League
is
actually insane.
And so that, like, because they were talking about their own careers, getting into it, LeBron, and it's like to one, get into it, but then also be in it for as long as you have. It's so hard to do. And then like they were talking about finance and obviously like how so many end up like bankrupt within like 2 years.
Yeah, because they just spend literally everything they have.
It's like they don't, when they get into it, like obviously it's a big accomplishment, but they also don't they don't think of it almost logically of being like, I might only be here for a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the thing is like you could work really hard in whatever career, but depending on some careers, you could be in that career for 40, 50 years. NBA,
or you could be there for like,
you're not.
Yeah.
It's like if you get there, you could be at the top of your game in your career for literally 2 years. Yeah. And so you gotta try to use that time wisely.
A lot of careers ended on like injuries. It's sad.
Mm-hmm.
Literally sad.
That's crazy. Well, I think we've hit a lot of the points we wanted to. I guess we didn't really mention about, like, we didn't actually talk about Posty having a kid, but
we did.
Like, not a lot, but yeah.
There's not much to talk about, really.
I mean, he just had a kid that I don't think anybody really knew about.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, which was kind of surprising, but at the same time, it's cool.
What's her name?
I don't think we know. He does have her initials tattooed on his forehead, though.
What's the initials?
I think it was DDB.
DDB?
I think.
What's a daughter's name that starts with D?
I don't know. Daisy?
Dandelion?
Yes, Dandelion. Perfect. Is that what
you're
gonna...
It's probably Daisy, to be honest.
It might be. Might be.
DD. What?
B, I thought.
What's B?
Mm-hmm.
What's B?
I don't know.
It must be.
That's not his last name.
Yeah.
His last name is Post.
Yeah.
Austin Post.
Mm-hmm.
And I also love that with him, his name was a random rap name generator.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that just
Post Malone's actually so dope.
It is. The thing is like the funny thing is that's such a thing from somebody like closer to our age of being like a new artist and be like going into Google and just be like rap name generator and just doing that, and then now becoming like one of the most well-known artists at the moment. Like it's wild that that's like the origination of that, which is crazy. But I love it.
It's pretty cool.
It just shows like how genuine and down to earth like Posty is. Like you didn't come up with some cool shit. Like it was like, this works.
Yeah.
Like it'd be like somebody like making a gamer tag. Like it'd be like some YouTubers making a gamer tag and then becoming like one of the biggest YouTubers in the world.
Just like Mr. Beast.
Yeah. Like literally, it's like that. It's like somebody
he changed his. It was like Mr. Beast 6000.
Yeah.
Changed to Mr. Beast. Like, nah, I don't like it. which is the
But
went back.
he went back.
Yeah.
Now he's back again.
Yeah.
But like it's kind of cool because it's like just seems so almost like childish, but it's cool to get that like side of people. I'd be like, yeah, that seems like what a normal person might do.
Everybody's a normal person.
Yeah,
literally.
Like people just get idolized or think they're so different because of who they are.
That's why I really liked MGK's documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Because literally, I would say maybe 80% people just know him from MGK or Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah.
Nobody knows his name.
Colson Baker.
Yeah. And that's what he wants now. He doesn't want to go by his stage name.
Yeah.
He literally has put that out. That's why he got so depressed.
Yeah.
Because everybody was just like that. He was like this MGK, just guy with no emotions.
Like a wannabe, a whatever. It's like, that's not me. That's not a person. Like, that's me as a rock star.
That's literally what Son to Me, like the song he recreated, Son to Me literally is about.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's great. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed our little podcast episode diving into music and
music industry.
Some of our favorite artists over the past couple years, and Post Malone as he breaks records, and MGK as he also continues to kind of break genres, and I guess his perception.
I mean, they both are, I guess.
Yeah. Literally. Like that, their perceptions of each other. Like, I feel like even 4 years ago, you talk to anybody that's even twice our age, like our parents or something, and you mentioned Post Malone, and even if you just showed them a picture, you'd be like, they'd be like, I don't like him. He has tattoos on his face, and he has whatever, and it's just like, but then you listen to the music, and they're like, wow, I would have probably never expected something like that from that kind of person. It's literally, it is the version of don't judge the book by its cover in real life.
Well, that's Jelly Roll too.
Yeah, exactly.
He's literally a teddy bear.
Oh, dude, I wish I could give him a hug. Like fucking Jelly Roll is just, he's too sweet. Like, you just know he is. Like, he's lovable. Just really genuinely. He genuinely is. Like, I feel like now you're gonna have to watch the Jelly Roll doc.
Oh, I'm going to.
Like, it's just so cool, like, to see that, and because you people always just like assume or expect that people that make it in that industry are successful, or like kind of basically like douchebags or whatever, but being able to actually see somebody for who they truly are just completely changes your perspective of them, and I love it. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things I love the most about the internet is you actually get to know some people for who they are, and it's not the same facade of fame as it was 20 years ago, where it's like this person is that actor from the movies or whatever. Like, you actually know somebody a little. Like, obviously you don't know them, but you actually know them more as a person. A little bit more. Exactly. Yeah. It's not just, oh, he's on the movie screen again and again. And like, now you get to find out more about them, and you see them more like humanistically. Yeah. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm using it.
We're going with it.
We are going with it.
And that's what we're going to end with.
We're ending it.
That word.
Yeah. Human
industry.
Humanistically. Boom. Creating words, I'd guess.
Maybe it's a word.
I don't know. We'll Google it later.
$10.
But all right. Well, thank you guys all for listening. I hope you did enjoy. Like we said, leave comments, drop likes, subscribe.
Say hi.
Say hi. Honestly, just go down and say hello. We'll reply.
We'll say hi back.
Exactly. Hope you guys all are having a great year, and we will see you guys all next week. We have some amazing guests that hopefully we plan on having over the next 2 weeks, and this is not an unfulfilled promise. We already have a few things actually lined up. Yeah, so
we're not lying to you.
We're not. It is gonna happen. Yes. We would have had Hope on already, but she's scared. She's scared of cameras. So
she's literally right there, by the
way. she is scared of cameras. She's hiding behind the cameras right now. She will hopefully be on sometime in the future. And we will see you guys all later. Peace out, everybody.